Welcome into the Dad Verb Podcast, first episode of 2024. We've made it, guys. And in this episode, we're going to be sharing our New Year's resolutions. It's going to be a shorter episode, but we wanted to kick it off with just sharing some of our goals that we have for the new year, whether it's parenting related or just personal, or I just want to share what's on our minds. As usual, I'm joined by Andrew Saunders and Ben Brown. Guys, how's our health? How are we doing to start the new year?
Good.
Everyone's good. Yeah, we're starting the new year fresh and strong. And like I mentioned, we're just going to be doing a quick rundown of our goals for the new year. And if you guys have any goals that you are that you're simmering on, that you're wanting to sit on, please comment them in the YouTube channel. Which we will be migrating to the Dad Verb YouTube channel away from the Dad Verb Podcast channel. More on that to come in a little bit. So, go ahead and stay tuned. But we're probably each going to share maybe 2, maybe 3, if we have that many, New Year's resolutions, aka goals that it just kind of fizzle away by March. But we'll see how long we last. I don't know that we're going to keep each other accountable, but in a perfect world, what are our New Year's resolutions? I have a couple in mind. My first, I want to read more books. Now, last year, I really wanted to get back into reading, because before 2022 and before that, I can count on one hand how many books I read. Really not many. I don't.
But I have a caveat there. Is it reading a book?
No, I count audiobooks, and I count that as reading still. Okay.
No.
I count you're engaging with a medium that was written by some sort of author. And now if that was read to you or you're reading yourself on a Kindle or in a physical book, I consider that reading.
All right.
That's me.
Yeah, I'm good then. I think I did 18, 20 books last year on Audible.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think an astonishing number of adults. I think an astonishing number of adults don't read as many books. So for me, my goal is to read 1 book a month. Right, I'd like to do that.
Nice.
Last year I did good. Last year, for the most part, I did audiobooks. I read a couple physical books. One of them was called The Plot, which was kind of a fun one. But at the moment, I'm reading a book called Fourth Wing. Apparently it's getting really popular. It's that genre that's more kind of like Divergent and Hunger Games-y.
Dystopian future.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit dystopic, a little bit fantasy with dragons, and a little R-rated, like a hard R. I've never had a book make me horny, but damn, they get graphic in a fun way. It's like porn. It was like porn.
It took until 2024 for Andrew to find adult novels. I'm just saying.
Up until now, all the books that I read were like Malcolm Gladwell, business, how to scale on YouTube, and then it's like you got this one where you rubbed on my supple nipples. I'm like, what is this? So I learned that there's books beyond nonfiction business growth, and there's
because it doesn't have a half shirtless man and a swooning woman on the front does not mean it's not an adult novel.
Yeah, exactly.
Fourth Wing will be done very soon by me. And straight on to the sequel. I think it's called Iron Flame. So I'm already done. I'm well on my way to averaging one. But I'm doing Audible. That's helping me. I
love it. I want to say my library is at 400 books.
Attaboy. Wow. Get it.
But I go through series. So like you a few years ago, it's I need to read more, but I hate reading. I
can't do it. I've got such hard ADD. I'll read the same sentence over and over.
I spend so much time in manuals and on websites, and by the time I want to sit down and enjoy something, I'm my eyes hurt. I don't.
Yeah.
But I've managed to go through the entire Jack Ryan novels series, Dune,
all of them,
Anne Rice, yeah.
So
Vince Flynn. I've got them all in collections.
Nice, good stuff, man. Because Ben's
need
a Kindle reader too, right? Yeah. Oh, how much do you average? A book.
Not as much. I listen to a lot of podcasts and a lot of audiobooks.
Okay, so you're like me.
Yeah, I've got a
Okay.
long ride into work most days, so I'll spend
Yep.
my hour and 20 minutes or whatnot. Just I'm listening to Rick Rubin's book right now. It's
Not familiar.
about I think it's gosh, I can't remember the title. It's like transmorgification. I don't know. It's got a really, really strange title. But it's about the creative act and all the things that go into it, as like he sees the creative act as like this really spiritual thing. It's almost like the creative act is an offering to God. Like you make something the best you can, not because of the audience, but because doing the best you can is an offering to a higher power. And that's what brings you more creativity, right? Like that's the energy that flows through you. So it's like offering back to that higher power. But it's interesting to hear Rick Rubin, one of the greatest producers in history, talk about his creative process and kind of how he views it.
I always took stuff like that. So I look at like Star Trek, right? The original one. Basically, Uhura's got a Bluetooth. Next Generation, everybody's running around with iPads. Like
there he is.
Oh, did I freeze?
Sorry.
Did you guys get
I thought
that?
we lost
You're
you
back.
for a second, but you're
back.
back. Keep going.
Anyway, so I always look at like Star Trek, and these science fiction shows really talk about stuff that becomes a reality, right? If you've ever read the book Brave New World, they talk about DNA, and the book was published several years before DNA was a scientific thing, right? And I always look at creativity in the sense of it's just someone who has the ability to tap into the truth that's actually out there, pull a chunk of it down and articulate it in a way before science can actually do it, right? And so that lends to this whole idea that maybe all these fantasy novels are just some weird multi-alternate universe truth that somebody's like, I've got a thread into that universe, right? Sounds weird, but it's got to come from somewhere. Like I don't like the idea that 6 proteins collided in someone's brain and we got Douglas Adams creating Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Like that just
Yeah.
So
you just hit on the crux of his book, man. So I think you would like it. It's long, and it's he uses Tibetan singing bowls to mark the ends of chapters. So it's a very like spiritual book, but super interesting to read. So yeah, good one to put on your Kindles or read in Audible.
I'm gonna hold you accountable to this, Andrew. You're gonna read a book a month.
Yeah, but they're not going to be as deep. They're going to be all about like sucking on people's nipples and stuff and weird fetishes.
That's fine. Just pick a
I'm
series
into that
you
genre
like.
now.
Yeah,
apparently,
just pick a series. Doesn't matter. We don't have to know what the book is
January's
about.
50 Shades of Grey.
Right?
Right.
Maybe
50 Shades Darker.
All right.
And then you can go into the Twilight Saga.
Oh man. All right. So what about you guys? What are some firearms?
Okay. So I have had this goal for every one of my kids. And I'm currently holding a 400-page Moleskine that I bought a month or so before my first daughter was born. And the goal was to write a message to her every day. And for those of you who are on YouTube, we're now going to go through how many messages I got through, because the most of this is not written in.
I like what you do though. You do that fold for every page.
I folded them over so because I actually dated a bunch of them so that I could see how far behind I actually was. So I like made myself get good, and you can't see it, but I filled out this page, so there's like a bunch that are anyway. So she turned 1 year old, and I bought a second one, and it's not out of the wrapper yet.
Wow, dude! But that's still
and then
really
my second
cool
daughter was born, and I bought a red one because her name is Scarlett, and it's not out of the wrapper yet. So my goal for 2024 is to solve this problem and get back to at least once a week writing messages to my kids, so that God forbid something happens to me, or when it does happen, they have a useless pile of dad's thoughts from the better part of their lives. And maybe there will be a nugget of genius in there that they can publish at some point and make themselves kabillionaires.
That sounds like a physical version of the thing that we chatted about at a previous episode about like setting up like an email for your kids, and then just sending them emails every month or so, or every couple of weeks, or whenever something cool happens. And then one day when they're old enough to like get the password for the email, they'll just have it, all these messages from Dad.
My girls have emails. I don't think I've ever emailed them.
Yeah.
And I went as far as to buy the domain names related to these so that I can have like I own letters to my kids.com, I think, or letters to my, I own something that's related because I was like, if I do it on a website, I'll do it better.
Yeah.
I never even built a website. Like, it's 2024. I'm going to fix this problem. I'm going to archive my brain for my children to resurrect me like a bad science fiction novel later in life.
All right, Ben. All right, what you got, man? New Year's resolution.
Big one is to get back into journaling. So I used to wake up early and journal every morning, just either before I went to bed, or I would journal first thing in the morning to just try and get my thoughts out, perspective, anything I was struggling with. It's basically just a way for me to have a conversation with myself, so that I can deal with things, understand things, try to, figure out issues or understand what my thought process is, what I'm thinking, feeling, whatever. So my big one is getting back into regular journaling, because I think it's super therapeutic, and gives you some sort of like detached perspective on what you've experienced, good and bad.
Yeah, that's, man, I like that. I mean, we have the both ones that you guys just shared, like something disconnected from social media and all that, something just very intentional, very present. I absolutely love that. If I'm gonna just toss out a second one for me, well, I want to dunk a basketball. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'll figure that out. That's I don't know that I'll actually get to that.
You can get an adjustable height hoop; it'll be fine.
So there you go. I'd like to dunk back. No, but the real one is I really want to like seriously learn and get and like have a better understanding of like investing. That's always been something that's always been like kind of an intimidating thing for me. It always felt like a gamble, right? Beyond, just making sure you're making the 401k contributions and maxing out your Roth IRA for the year. Other than that, I've always just kind of been like, what? I don't know, like I might buy this stock or that Bitcoin. I don't know. And I've always saw it as just like a gamble, something just kind of like, I don't know, just like white collar sleaze to do that. But the more I've like read about it and thought about it, I'm just like, I really need to take that seriously. Like, what is like a real like, portfolio set up on Vanguard or Chuck Schwab or whatever, and just like understanding the numbers and demystifying the what I believe to be intimidating, scary, a lot of lingo, and just really understanding that. So there are a few like YouTube channels that I've kind of sort of follow, understand, and not like the crypto bro kind of things and like here's how to make money, like just I want to learn and more educational, really understand the landscape of investing and how to do it properly and slowly, not like a get rich quick. Like I want to understand the principles and what good better financial behaviors and how to invest beyond just your IRA, your 401k. What more can I be doing?
I played with about 10 grand when I was single. After I sold my first house, I had a little money through an investment account. It led to so much anxiety because I was in mountain time, so the market opened at like 7 a.m. So the market was open before I was awake. I had an iPad at my desk that had like live stock tickers, and the holding on to a stock, even though it dipped below your buy point, was like just this, I know it's going to go back up. I know it's going to, but you just have this, like, I'm losing money in my brain. Like it was a lot of anxiety that really wasn't worth it in the long run. And my brain and I really went, forget it. Mutual funds, they grow. I don't have to worry about all the anxiety. I don't have to.
Right. And that's the thing. I'm a set it and forget it kind of a guy. But is there some middle point where I'm not trying to like trade on the daily and do that? Because like I have a life. I'm not trying to like monitor that all the time. But is there like some sort of middle ground where I can check in once a week or once every 2 weeks or something like that, make whatever adjustments I need to, and then pull out and then just stop? Something where it's better than what I'm doing now, which is zero beyond the automated.
Better when I was a kid, because Dad was like, okay, for your Christmas, you get to buy 100 shares of a stock. Pick one.
Yeah.
And I went Pizza Hut. Because
there you go.
I like to eat at Pizza Hut, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, turns out Pepsi Cola in '94 was actually a pretty good investment. And then they split, and then and by the time I was in high school, it was like, oh, that wasn't a bad choice. It was a decade later, right? And so it was. I had inadvertently picked something that was inevitably going to grow because it was so large. It wasn't like the idea that PepsiCo was going to fail. And so I inadvertently had enough patience to make it pay off, but it wasn't intentional, right? And that's the part that I think stuck with me more is it's a patience game unless you're in it every day, all day, playing the stock ticker game.
Yeah, and I'm a patient person, so that's kind of like the philosophy or my style that I would like to try, because I have zero intention of being one of those like daily guys that's like looking at the graphs and the charts constantly, but I at least want to know what I'm looking at. You know what I mean? So that's going to be my fun little educational bit this year. And a funny thing on that note, I remember when I was like a little kid, I was like in second grade, and I didn't know really anything about stocks, but I was like, if I'm going to buy a stock, I'm going to buy Toys R Us, because the world's never going to stop needing toys. There's always going to be kids who want toys. That's an impossible one to fail. And
bum, bum, bum.
What a loss there. So anyway, what about you guys? Ben, you got another one for us?
Yeah. I think my second big one is just moving more. I definitely don't work out as much as I used to. And it's been really hit or miss, especially, having two kids about 2.5 years apart. So just as I like kind of started to get back into a really regular workout routine, we had our daughter.
Yeah.
And now we're, your world gets turned upside down, and you kind of get back to, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. And then all of a sudden, it's a year later and you're not really making the commitment.
Yeah.
I've invested in all the tools that I need to do it. It's just prioritizing the time.
Yeah.
And so that's a big thing, is prioritizing the right things, including movement, whether that's a walk or a workout, just making sure every day I'm out doing something. Good weather, bad weather, any of the above.
I had a coach once tell me, the more you move, the more you want to move. So that's, and it's true, man. Once you kind of get started and you get it going, the more it feels wrong to not do it.
Tell you what, you take 5 years off. Don't do any exercise for 5 years. And then day 3 of coming back, you tell me that it feels wrong to move.
You know what? I just started a membership with F45 because I'm back in office now. And because I was working out of my garage gym pretty much ever since the pandemic. And it's been great, but now I just have less time to work out at home. So I joined a gym for the first time in like 3-4 years, F45 gym, and I've actually been really liking it. It's intense, but it's what I needed. So it's been fun. Anyway, Andrew, you want to round us out with a final resolution for yourself?
So I have told myself for at least the last 10 years that if I can get down to 200 pounds, I can buy myself a motorcycle. I have turned 40 years old. I am heavier than I've ever been in my entire life. And the last time I was under 200 pounds was the day I left boot camp in 2005.
Wow.
So if I want to live to see my kids reach 30, I've actually got to get this under control. And so my goal for 2024 for Andrew is to get a motorcycle. That's man, that is not allowed to happen until I hit my weight goal. So I think your coach has it right? You just got to get up and move. I did notice that I spent 34 days hitting my movement goal every day, according to my Apple Watch, during the move when I moved from Utah to Iowa, and I lost 10 pounds in that 30 days. Yeah. So I just got to do it. I now have a house that's big enough I can actually put like a rowing machine in the basement, and it's not going to take up a bunch of space and be a pain in my butt. So it's a priority that I have to start making a priority,
dude.
Otherwise, I'm going to have a heart attack at 65, and I'll have eaten well my whole life.
I love that goal.
Yeah,
I think that's
that's
such a, and we all do kind of always like, oh, we want to lose weight or whatever. I know that's like the most common, thing, but like it is a real thing because it's more than just like losing weight. It is getting control of your life and making sure that you live to see, your daughter walk down the aisle. Right. And
I mean,
you want a
to
healthy
be
heart,
fair,
healthy mind.
right? To be fair, if I make it to 80, my kids aren't 40 yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, put that in perspective for you, right? You guys are almost hitting 40, and your eldest is 6, right?
7. Yep.
So, from my perspective, if they wait until they're in their 40s to have their first kid, I'm not going to see a great grandkid or grandchild, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I got to do everything I can to prolong that, and it better start now, because if it doesn't start now, it's just going to go downhill, because I have no metabolism left. That's obvious.
And what I'll say is, and I'm not a fitness coach or whatever, I've been working out for years. I really enjoy it. But if anyone's listening to this and they're kind of, feeling in the same mindset, I will say, like, you don't have to think all of a sudden like, oh, I'm going to have to start like going to the gym and like bench pressing and doing all that stuff and running. And like, I mean, that's a part of it. I mean, that's a great healthy thing to adopt. But like the reality is that journey really is made more in the kitchen. It's, I would say, almost, 80% diet, 20% workout, almost 85% diet, 15% workout. Obviously, you're going to need the activity, the cardiovascular work, you got to put in that. But a lot of it is made in the kitchen, making sure that you've got that dialed down. If you can dial that down, you'd be surprised with how fast you'll get things under control more than the working out 7 days a week. It really does start in the kitchen. Cutting out the processed stuff, the sugars, all that, everything in moderation, so
even moderation.
Well, that's gonna be fun, man. Well, maybe we'll do some check-ins here and there, but I want to see that for you.
It's got to be a thing. I need people to hold me accountable, so let's
do it. Let's do it.
I gotta make it. It's got to be a priority.
Guy, maybe we should open this up on the Discord too. Like, hey,
there's a fitness channel in the Discord.
There's a fitness channel, but more like an accountability one, or maybe that just can be the accountability one.
Dwight's accountability booster.
Okay, now we're gonna measure your thighs every week on the podcast. If they're not getting smaller, we're gonna Jenny Craig this. There'll be weigh-ins.
Jenny Craig it. Well, guys, that's gonna do it for our first episode of 2024. That's what we got brewing with regards to our New Year's resolutions. And if you have any of yourself, please, we'd love to hear them, whether that's fitness related, parenting related, or what have you, or watching or reading smut and whatever I'm reading, so that's always fun.
Are there voice actors in your smut you're listening to? Are you really getting, or is it just some burly dude like, and then Jennifer said,
no, it's some lady. She's a great voice actor. She does all the voices. She does.
Don't look him up. It'll ruin the fantasy.
I know, a little bit. Actually, I did make that mistake. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening to what we hope is going to be a great 2024. That'll do it. Again, you can always check the show notes, the links in the YouTube description to join us on Discord. We're going to have our accountability check-ins for Andrew. And you can visit dadverb.com for courses from pregnancy up through year 1 of fatherhood. As always, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.